as we go along. So good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for taking the time out to join me today. We will be working through the essay questions. So if it happens that we run out of time, please feel free to log in again using the same link to continue the session. Please remember your assignment is due on the 27th of May. So by now, you should be aware of the importance of avoiding plagiarism and ensuring that all answers are written in your own words. Obviously, plagiarism 30% and above is 0. And if you plagiarize in 2 or more questions, you're going to get a 0 for the entire assignment. So you are also required to use the 7th edition referencing style for both in-text citations and your reference list. So slides 16 to 19 further down in this presentation provides examples of in-text citations as well as book and journal references. So I'm not going to go through it to save time, but you will have the slides and you will have the recording on the VC and you can go and look at it in your own spare time. So now let's take a look at question 23. So question 23 is about the human resource information systems. So human resource information system known as the HRIS, which I will refer to, is a software application and it is designed to help organizations manage and automate important human resource activities. Now, an HRIS stores employee information electronically, including personal details, demographic data, payroll information, I'm just admitting someone, attendance records, leave information, and employee benefits. Now, by storing this information in one central system, organizations can easily access and manage employee records. So the system supports core HR functions, and this is important for your question, the HR functions, such as payroll processing, time and attendance tracking, leave administration, and benefits management. So the 4 HR functions, I'm going to repeat it, is payroll processing, time and attendance tracking, leave administration, and benefits management. This reduces the need for manual paperwork and it helps improve accuracy and efficiency in HR operations. So each of these functions have their specific function that they with their own benefits. So those are the benefits that needs to be discussed. So another important advantage of the HRIS is that it reduces administrative errors and saves time. Now, since many HR tasks are automated, HR staff can focus more on strategic activities rather than repetitive administrative duties. Now, an HRIS also generates reports and analytics that assist managers in making informed decisions about employees and workplace planning. Now, it is also important to note that an HRIS primarily focuses on the basic HR operations. In comparison, a human resource management system or HRMS is more comprehensive because it includes HRIS functions together with advanced features such as talent management, recruitment, performance management, and employee development. Now, it's important to note that for this assessment, question 1 requires you to explain what HRIS is and discuss its purpose within an organization. So you need to explain it and discuss the purpose within an organization. Question 2 focuses on the HRIS functionalities, which are those functions that I've mentioned in the previous slide, and how these can be implemented in the organization provided in the case study. So discuss it referring to the case study. So your information should come from the case study. Now, a tip would be, do not only identify the HRIS functionalities, but also discuss them and apply them practically to the scenario in order to earn your full marks. Are there any questions on question 23? There is a lot of information in your textbooks as well as in your study guide, which is study guide 3. So now we move on to question 24, which is about payroll calculations. So, sorry, I just want to see if I've skipped a slide. So this activity requires you to apply payroll and overtime calculations step by step using the information provided in the scenario. Now, this application question is 20 marks each. So, is 20 marks for the full question. Look at the slide and see how these 20 marks is divided. So if you follow this step by step and answer it for the 2 marks, you will obtain full marks. Now read the scenario carefully before starting any calculations. It is important to identify Mary's normal hourly wage, the number of hours worked during the week, which hours are considered regular hours, and which hours qualify as overtime. It is important to know that information before you can move on to do actual calculations. Pay close attention to the overtime rates provided in the scenario. Saturday overtime is paid at 1.5 times the normal hourly rate. Sunday overtime is paid at double normal hour rate. Now work systematically through each question in order as prescribed on the rubric. Many of the later calculations depend on answers from the earlier questions. For example, the overtime rate must be calculated before overtime pay can be calculated. Weekly gross pay must be calculated before monthly earnings can be determined. Now, also show all your formulas, the calculations, as marks are awarded for the calculation process and not only for the final answer. So for each calculation, show what you have done, show the calculation, show the formula, and obviously the correct final answer. For the final theory question, apply the basic conditions of Employment Act by explaining why Sunday work is compensated as a higher rate than a Saturday work. Refer specifically to the overtime hours worked and the different overtime pay rates applied. A reminder is include the correct units such as hours and rand values. Use the correct overtime multipliers. Read each question carefully and present your answers neatly and logically. Any questions so far? Now, a little guidance for the pay rate calculation question would be when answering the question, you should first read the scenario carefully and identify all the important payroll information that is provided within the case study. This includes Mary's formal hourly wage, the number of hours worked each day, and the overtime rules stated in the scenario. Distinguish then also between regular working hours and overtime hours worked. Calculate the total hours worked for the week, and then you determine which hours are regular and which are overtime. Now, it is also important to note that overtime worked on Saturdays and Sundays is paid at a different rate. Pay close attention to overtime multipliers provided in the scenario and apply them correctly when calculating overtime earnings. Now, when you do the calculate the gross pay, include all earnings for the week, including regular pay and overtime pay. Now, for the monthly earning question, use weekly earnings and assume that all 4 weeks are the same as stated in the question. The final question requires you to apply the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. They should explain why Sunday work is compensated at a higher rate than Saturday work and relate their explanation to the working hours and pay rates provided in the scenario. Clearly show all calculations, use the correct formulas, and apply payroll principles accurately through the question. Now, I think I've duplicated a few times what I was saying in the previous slide, but that's okay because I'm reiterating some of the important aspects. Now, these are important reminders for approaching payroll calculations as work step by step, read the scenario carefully, and always verify the overtime rates before calculating overtime pay. So let's work through an example. This is only just one example, just to familiarize yourself with how you are expected to answer the question. Remember, we said show the formula, show the multipliers, show the actual calculation, and show the correct answer. So in this example, we're demonstrating the methods you should use to calculate the overtime pay. The employee earns 100 Rand per hour, and overtime on Saturdays is paid at 1.5 times the normal hourly rate. So let's do the first step. The first step is to identify the normal hourly wage, which is 100 Rand. Next, apply the overtime multiplier given in the question, since Sunday overtime is paid at 1.5 times the normal rate. So we multiply 100 times 1.5. So you're going to first say that you're going to put your formula, you're going to say rate per hour times the overtime multiplier. So your rate per hour is 100, your multiplier is 1.5, and that equals to 150 Rand per hour. So that would be your overtime rate. Now remember that at this stage, you are not calculating the total pay yet. You're only calculating the overtime rate per hour. So also included that's the overtime rate per hour and not the complete overtime hours worked. Always read the question carefully to understand what is asked, identify the correct overtime multiplier, show all calculations clearly, and include the correct currency values in your answer. So now to calculate step 2, you calculate the overtime pay. After calculating your overtime rate, the next step now is to calculate your total overtime pay earned. In this example, the overtime rate was calculated as 150 Rand per hour. The employee worked 5 overtime hours on Saturday. To calculate the overtime pay, multiply the overtime rate by the number of overtime hours worked. So which means your formula is going to be overtime hours worked times your overtime rate. So the overtime hours, complete overtime hours worked, or total overtime hours worked, is 5 times your overtime rate, which is 150, which means that Saturday overtime pay is then 750 Rand. Reminder, the overtime rate must be calculated first before calculating overtime pay. They must use the correct number of overtime hours given in the question, and all calculations should be shown clearly for marks to be awarded. So this is just an example to show you what is expected and how you need to answer your questions to show all your calculations clearly. Are there any questions? Because you're going to have to work out or calculate all the other questions in this fashion. Any questions before we move on? Okay, so for question 25, all right, I see there's a hand up, Zondi. Yes, Zondi? Hello,
Hello, how are you?
good and yourself?
I'm good, thank you. I just needed to check when doing that overtime calculation, we need to have the employee's basic rate, then we multiply it by 1.5, and then if it's on a Sunday, we multiply that by 2. I just wanted to distinguish, and also if it's on a public holiday, how do we distinguish, or a public holiday, does it pay double all of the public holidays?
Remember, you're going to just answer what is in the question, in the case study. So if the case study is asking you to calculate your Saturday overtime pay, you're going to first have to calculate what is the hourly rate for that Saturday. Obviously, they are telling you here that it's 1.5 per hour extra. So you're going to take your normal hourly rate and then multiply it with your multiplier, which is 1.5. If they say a Sunday is double, then you're going to double your hourly rate.
All right,
Does
no,
that
thank you
make
very much. I'm
sense?
clarified.
You're just going
Yes.
to do what they tell you in the question. You are not going to do anything else. You're just going to um, base your answers on what is in this particular um, scenario in the case study.
Oh, okay. No, thank you very much. I'm clarified.
Okay, any other questions?
Okay. The other one was with regard to the first on the question 23, or is it 23, where you were talking about that HR system. That system, is it an automated system, or you will have to start it from the beginning, or you are given us a system that you need to punch in the employee details and their
Okay, that's the
allowances and
technical part of the system, which is every company system is going to look different on how it is set up. And based on
okay.
company requirements, the HRS system is going to be based on what your company requires. But the information is going to be manually punched in, yes, but it will be consolidated at the end. So the information will be ready at all times and it will be accurate because the system will do whatever it needs to do.
All right. No, thank you very much. I'm clarified.
Okay. Thank you. Then we will move on to question 25. So question 25, in this section, you will evaluate whether ABC Limited's payroll practices are effective in ensuring compliance with South African legislation and protecting employee information. Now, you will also discuss recommendations to improve your payroll record keeping and data security. So you have to evaluate. Do not just take information and give descriptive information. Evaluate it, and then by evaluating, we mean that you look at what's the negative, what is the positive, and you can then evaluate and do your recommendations as required in the question. Now, what is payroll? Because your question is based on payroll record keeping. So what is payroll record keeping? Payroll record keeping involves creating, maintaining, and storing and managing records related to employee compensation and payroll activities. Now, these records include employee salaries, wages, overtime work, tax deductions, UIF contributions, leave records, bonuses, and other payroll-related details. Now, accurate payroll records are crucial because they ensure that employees are paid correctly and on time. Additionally, it also helps organizations comply with labor legislation and tax requirements, including regulations set by SARS and the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. And I don't think anybody wants to mess with SARS because it won't be beneficial to the company. So effective payroll record keeping promotes transparency and accountability within the organization. Now, it also assists during audits, inspections, and disputes, and as employers can provide proof of payments, deductions, and employment information when required. Now, compliance requirements is that payroll record keeping in South Africa is strictly regulated by SARS and labor legislation such as the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. Employers are required to maintain accurate and complete payroll records to ensure compliance, support audits, and defend against disputes at the CCMA. Failure to comply can result in financial penalties and legal consequences. So, can you guys see why compliance are required? It supports your audits. It defends you against the disputes at the CCMA should there be CCMA cases. And then record retention is that different legislation requires employers to retain payroll records for specific periods. Now, SARS requires records to be kept for 5 years from the date of the return of submission. The basic conditions of employment. Sorry, can you mute yourself? I don't know where I left off now because I was disrupted. Okay, so different legislation requires employees to retain payroll records for specific periods. As I said, SARS wants you to keep it for 5 years. The Basic Conditions of Employment Act requires retention of at least 3 years after the employment ends. And while Companies Act may require up to seven years, depending on the organization. But we will just, for ease of reference, we will say 7 years, but specifically for SARS, it will be 5 years. Any questions so far? Okay, if there's no questions, then employers must maintain comprehensive payroll records for each employee. Now, this includes personal details, detailed pay information, all statutory and voluntary deductions, and then attendance and leave records. Supporting documents such as contracts, disciplinary records, or tax certificates must also be retained for audit and compliance purposes. Then penalties for non-compliance. Failure to comply with payroll record-keeping requirements can have serious consequences. SARS may impose penalties and interest for incorrect submissions, while poor record-keeping can weaken employees' position in the CCMA disputes. Also, in addition to the POPIA breaches related to employee data can result in significant fines of up to 10 million rand. And then lastly, the confidentiality and the access control in payroll is that payroll information is highly sensitive and it must be protected under strict confidentiality principles. Employers should ensure that payroll data is only shared with individuals who have a legitimate business need, such as HR or payroll administrators. Now, in addition, employees must give explicit consent for their payroll information to be collected, stored, and processed in line with data protection principles such as the POPI Act, POPIA, if you don't say the act. Access to payroll systems should be tightly controlled and limited to authorized personnel only, using user permission and role-based access controls. Now, to strengthen security and accountability, audit trails must be enabled to track all access attempts and changes made within the system. Any questions? Because we've come to the end of this question. What I just want to say about this question is that the question is asking you to, just want to get to the question on here. There. The question is asking you in your evaluation to discuss the adherence to the legal requirements, the date and accuracy of integrity, security and confidentiality, employee access and transparency, audit compliance and updates. So when you do your evaluation, please include this topics in your evaluation. And then after that, you provide your recommendations based on the information that you've discussed. Are there any questions? And as I've mentioned before, that from slide 16 to 18, I have, up to 19, I have provided you with the index citations, how to reference, what narrative citation is, what direct quoting is, what narrative citation is, parenthetical citation, and also provided you with how you would reference in your reference list, when you reference a book and when you reference a journal. And then also just why you need to reference. Any questions? Because I see we're almost running out of time. I think we still have about 9 minutes left. If there are no questions, I would ask questions then on whether you guys have already started with your assignment. Anyone?
No, not yet. I tried to attempt. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, Sipho.
I'm good. Sorry about that. I've been trying actually to start the attempt, but I was failing due to this webcam. I remember I said that I sent that screenshot. So one of the ICT guy from my employment assisted me. So
Oh, wonderful.
I think maybe, yeah, now I'll be ready to start. But I tried several times as you received my emails from last week.
Okay, all right. I'm happy that you sorted now. You can contact me if there's any other problem.
No problem, I'll do so.
Okay. Thank you, Sipho. Zondi.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I haven't started yet because I was just a bit struggling, but I think my problem was similar to Sipho's one, but I will start as soon as possible.
Okay. I'd just like to mention, if you do experience any challenges, you are more than welcome to contact me. Just don't ask me for the answer, but I can guide you. So for your assignment, you need to switch on your webcam because it does the proctoring, where it will see what you are doing. So the camera, you have to have your camera on. Any other questions?
Sorry, one more last question, Vanisha.
Okay.
It will allow us, maybe let's take like to start, and then when maybe we feel like now anxiety is like taking over, then you log out again.
Yes, you can do the assignment still at your own pace. The only difference is that your camera or your webcam must be on when you start your assignment. So say if you are busy now, or if you log in, you need to turn on the webcam. It's going to ask you to turn on the webcam. You work, you work, you work. You're tired now. You want to take a break, save your work. If you log out and you come back, obviously you're going to have to turn on the webcam again.
Noted. Thank you very much. I wanted to understand also.
But you can do it all at your own pace, at your own time.
No problem. Thank you.
Any other questions? I'm not going to attempt to say the name, but you may ask your question. Machaliso, I think. Hi. Machaliso? You can ask your question. I don't know if Machaliso, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct, guys. He's got his hand up or she's got her hand up, but I don't know if they're hearing me.
It's correctly.
Okay.
I was trying to unmute. Vanisha, I just want to ask, are we allowed to take a question down and maybe do the essay offline and then come back when I've done everything?
No, you must do it online because of the camera, because the camera's watching you what you're doing.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Just wanted to ask that.
All right, not a problem. Thank you for asking. Any other question? Anyone? Okay, if there are no more questions, what I'm going to do is to save this on the VC under the summative prep session. It might not be today, but by tomorrow morning, it should be there. Thank you so much for joining the session. And thank you for those who participated. I really appreciate it. All the best with your assignment. And if you need any assistance, please don't hesitate to contact me. Enjoy the rest of your day and good luck.
Thank you, Vanisha.
Thank you. Bye.